So, welcome day 4. We got another amazing lineup of speakers for you today. Once again, the speakers will be talking at the top of each hour. There's going to be about a 10 to 15-minute break in between speakers. That way you can get some water, rehydrate, use the restroom, whatever you need to do, get a little break. And then I hold the speakers to that time, even if they're in early, just because I know potentially you're waiting for a certain speaker and your time's limited and you want to catch that training, they will be speaking right at the top of the hour. So let me know in the chat, where are you calling in from? Where are you tuning in from today? Let me open up my chat. And as you are typing in where you're tuning in from, if you've been able to watch any day of the docu-series, what has been your favorite so far, or what you feel like is the most helpful for you, which speaker or topic? Because I'm always looking for feedback, because I do about 2 to 4 events a year and I want to bring speakers for what you need. Okay, so that's why all the speakers come from different modalities, not different perspectives, but different strengths, so to speak, of what they focus on. We had someone who spoke specifically about chronic fatigue syndrome. We have a couple talking about autoimmune, talked about stress, talked about your thoughts and mindset. So let me know what was your favorite so far, so that I know what you guys want or need. And I'm going to post my links to my gifts to you. So I have for you all the 20-minute weight loss method. That is a direct download of the PDF guide. It is also on all of the replay pages for you. If you're on your phone, I know sometimes if you click a link in the chat, it takes you off and you can't figure out how to get back onto Zoom. So they are all on the replay pages for you as well. And then my next gift for you all, as you're typing in, let me know which speaker you liked and what topic. Lymphatic. Linda says lymphatic. Yeah, John's always a great wealth of information. I love all the speakers, but I really love about him, I'm a science geek at heart, so always bringing in the most recent research and letting us know with that. Yes. John was actually he spoke at my first summit back in 2021. And I always invite him back because everyone loves him. And it's a different perspective, because you don't know, even in nursing school, we learn about the lymphatic system, but then it's like we never hear about it again, unless, like what John was saying, you have cancer or lymphedema. But the lymphatic system, we really need to take care of it. And so if you haven't had a chance to catch John, he's on day 3. He spoke yesterday. He is an expert in the lymph system, lymphatic drainage. And then my second gift for you all is a free ticket to my upcoming Revitalize and Reclaim event. This event is for women only. Sorry, men. I do specifically work with women. And so this is going to be a 2-day intensive deep dive. And we're going to deep dive into, each day is about 3 hours long, and it is a very high quality training. And so though, if you've kind of registered, so to speak, and you saw, oh, I have to sign up for a call, what's that about? Yes, you do need to come onto a 15-minute quick call, because I don't want you to come to an event that you're going to waste your time and not get any value of. And I also want to nail down your commitment and then find the dates that are going to work for you, because I've got 2 different dates and 2 different times to kind of accommodate different time zones. But because it's a very high quality event, I do need your commitment to attend as well. So that's part of that 15-minute call, and then you'll get the Zoom links and get you all set up for that. My last gift for all of you is a next best step weight loss audit. I'll ask you a series of questions and I'm looking for red flags, and then based on what you're telling me and kind of diving a little bit deeper, I'm going to give you a recommendation to like your next best step on what to either work on, or sometimes it might be a recommendation for a referral or something like that. So Karen says favorites: fatigue, lymph, cell energy, gut stress, minerals, autoimmune. Had lots of great ones, right? And yesterday with Atara talking about minerals and mental health, and she works specifically with postpartum mamas, but she's like, a lot of mental health, sometimes you're just deficient in minerals, and specifically when it comes to women postpartum, you lose a lot through childbirth. She was mentioning copper and things like that, magnesium get depleted. So very great conversation yesterday with Atara. She also spoke yesterday, day 3. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, she's on day 3. Replays will be available until 11 p.m. Eastern time Saturday. So you will have time to catch up. And also, if you are like, hey, I don't, if you, your time's very, strapped, you're very busy and you won't have time to completely watch all of the replays. If you can just upgrade to VIP All Access Pass. What that VIP upgrade does is you get lifetime access to all the presentations. You have more time to grab their gifts. And then most speakers have also given either an extra gift or an offer. And anytime they have a paid offer, I request that they have a 50% discount. So look for codes. Yeah, look for codes. Make sure you use the code. I think only one speaker had an expiration date on theirs. And John told me yesterday that for his offer, he only offers that for my summits, for my events. So you might want to grab that up while you can. Yeah, minerals are very important for seniors. Yes, you're correct, Joan. And the older we get, part of that is years of stress that we've been under. Maybe you're a go-getter, maybe you worked a very stressful job. And then also as we age, we don't uptake as efficiently. Part of that is our gut health. Our gut microbiome is not healthy. So we can't uptake the nutrients we're getting through our food. And like Atara was saying, she goes, yeah, we'll supplement, but let's get it from your food as well. But if your gut microbiome is not healthy, you're not going to be able to uptake as efficiently. Stress will prevent you. I talked about stress yesterday. Stress really shuts down digestion. So then you're not really digesting your food and you're not uptaking the vitamins and minerals that you are getting from your food. So yes, minerals are so important as well. Yeah, great. Thank you so much for the feedback. I do appreciate it because that lets me know, what you guys need, what you guys want for future events. And the reason why I asked Dr. Evans specifically is because I think I've had over 700 people participate in surveys. Anytime I'd have my recorded summits, I'd have optional please complete the survey. And of course, my niche is weight release, but number two was always energy. On the surveys, energy was number two. So that lets me know energy is a real big issue. And part of that is the excess unhealthy weight, but also part of that is just poor health, not uptaking the good clean food that you are eating, if you are eating good clean food and food that your body thrives on. And so Dr. Evan really, I learned a lot from him. I don't know if you did, about chronic fatigue. It is on the rise, it is on the uptake. And so that's what he works specifically with, but he works with other people, but also that's his niche, so to speak, because he's lived it and his wife has lived it. John, once again, just because he speaks about something that is really important, but you don't hear about it in the health and wellness area. Let's talk about the lymphatic system and lymphatic drainage. So yeah, lots of good speakers. Thank you so much for letting me know about that. So today, what I'm going to be talking about today for you all is I'm going to do a little bit of an assessment. We cannot tweak, modify, or change anything of which we are not aware. Okay. We just won't be able to do that because you're not aware that that's going on. So my talk today is something missing? So we're going to do a little bit of assessment to find out where you're doing. There's my title in the chat for you guys. Is something missing? Your ultimate health and weight release check-in for lasting success. So I'm going to use my whiteboard. We're going to go through these areas. So if you have your workbook or if you have, your notes, I'm going to write everything on the whiteboard for you so you can follow along. Let me just get this over here, and we're going to go through some of these areas. Now, some of these areas we've already spoken about to some extent. We do have a speaker today that's going to be talking specifically about eating, about food. But when it comes to eating for you, we're going to use the traffic light system when we go through these areas. So let me put that up here. We're going to use the traffic light system. Okay. We're going to use red, yellow, and green to see where you are in these areas. And so when it comes to red means that you are not currently addressing this area, not currently doing anything in this area, okay? You're gonna mark yourself as a yellow if you're taking steps, but you need more consistency. And you're gonna mark yourself as green in the area if you are confidently maintaining this area. So when it comes to eating, what do I have here? One, two, three, four, five, six. There's seven, what I call milestones. 7 milestones when it comes to eating. So the first one is mark yourself red, yellow, or green. If you can say, I make healthy food choices regularly. Are you red, yellow, or green? That you make healthy food choices regularly. We talked about sourcing of food, organic, non-GMO. We talked about clean eating, pesticides, herbicides, things like that. We touched a little bit on a little bit of everything, because when it comes to autoimmune, clean eating is essential. When it comes to stress, you want to make sure you're fueling your body properly. So are you red, yellow, or green that you make healthy food choices regularly? Okay. And then the next milestone in eating is I eat less than 25 grams of sugar daily. I eat less than 25 grams of sugar daily. Per the American Heart Association, the recommendation is 25 grams or less. Heart disease is the #1 killer among women. So if the American Heart Association is saying 25 grams or less of sugar, I kind of listen to that. Especially if you have any heart issues that run in your family, right? Because, and the reason for this is because blood sugar dysregulation, diabetes, type 2 specifically, we're talking about more lifestyle issues, pre-diabetic, but you don't necessarily need to be diabetic or pre-diabetic to have blood sugar instability. So if we can, eat less than 25 grams of sugar daily, then we're doing better for ourselves, because blood sugar dysregulation drives inflammation, is a big driver of inflammation, and inflammation is #1 reason for dis-ease in the body. So that's, are you red, yellow, or green that you eat 25 grams of sugar or less daily? Okay. #3, I consume a minimum of 100 grams of protein daily. That's across the board for everyone. That's a bare minimum for men, bare minimum. Men should be getting about 120 grams a day. So bare minimum for women, 100 grams of protein daily. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be your chicken, your poultry, your nuts and seeds are included in that. And vegetables do have some amount of protein in them. So throughout the course of the day, where are you at? Now, what I see typically, because I work primarily with women, is they get maybe 50 to 60 grams of protein a day. So they're getting half or maybe just a little bit more. And so in my academy, I work with them to scale up slowly, because you don't want to all of a sudden add 50 more grams of protein to your meal right at the get-go. Your gut's not going to like it. You're going to ease your way into that. 100 grams of protein daily. Are you red, yellow, or green in these areas? The next one, I focus on organic farm-to-table foods, which means cleanly sourced, farm to table. So if you shop in your local grocery store, oftentimes in the produce area, if you have a local market, I live in Florida, so I have a little bit easier access to like local markets that sell in the grocery stores. Just think clean food, farm to table, as close to nature as possible. As close to nature as possible. Are you red, yellow, or green? The next one, I eat at least 6 servings of vegetables daily. Optimal is 10. 6 is good if you can get 6 in, optimal is 10. So are you red, yellow, or green on eating 6 servings of vegetables daily? The next one is I avoid emotional eating patterns. I avoid emotional eating patterns. That goes with stress eating, boredom, you're eating out of boredom. It could also be some women say, I eat a lot of sugar when I'm happy, because it brings back memories of things, celebrations, and food is very celebratory too. So I avoid emotional eating patterns. Are you red, yellow, or green in those areas? The last one is I plan my meals to support my health and weight release goals. Now, when it says I plan my meals, it doesn't necessarily mean you are meal planning, like planning your meals for the week or food prepping for the whole week. It just simply means that when you plan to eat for the day, that meal, that you are eating meals that support your health and weight release goals. Are you red, yellow, or green in that? So if you've been participating and you've been jotting down along, look at for each one, how many reds do you have? How many yellows? How many greens? And out of all of them, what is the predominant color for you when it comes to eating? What is the predominant color for you when it comes to eating? Are you red, yellow, or green? So if you're yellow, it means you're doing it, but you're really not consistent. If your predominant color is red, it means you got some work to do. This is not judgment or criticism. It's just to bring awareness so you know what area to kind of work on it next for you. So I'm curious if you could participate. Let me know, what was your area for eating overall? Was it red, yellow, or green? Was it red, yellow, or green for eating in that area? No shame or blame, because probably someone else is watching right now has the same exact color. You red, yellow, or green. So the next one, we're going to look at your environment. Environment is crucial when it comes to health and weight release. We're going to dive a little bit into this. Toxins, chemicals. Unless you live in a bubble, you really can't, be rid of toxins and chemicals. Thank you so much for sharing. Joan says she's green and eating. And if you're not green, no shame or blame. It's just to let you know. Linda says yellow. Okay. And when it usually comes to eating, most people seems to be yellow. Some people will say, can I say orange? Because I'm kind of a little bit red, but not so much. So when it comes to environment, the first milestone is I create a toxin limited home environment. So this means using non-toxic cleaning products, makeup, shampoo, conditioner, lotions, all of that. Karen, you're absolutely right. It can vacillate. Absolutely. You can be consistent in a milestone and then, something happens and the consistency lacks. Yeah. So at this moment in time, when you look at all this, what is your average for you at this moment in time? So in an environment, I create a toxin limited home environment. And usually for most women, this is something that they aren't aware of when it comes to toxins and chemicals or toxic burden. And so they're not putting things in place to limit their toxic burden. Toxins and chemicals, what happens with toxins and chemicals? First off, our liver and our kidneys are our main detox organs. Yes, skin is our biggest organ, it can detox, but when it comes to filtering, it's our liver specifically and then our kidneys that filter out toxins and chemicals from our body. Because if it doesn't, we'd be really, really sick. However, our toxic burden as a society is very high. And so what happens is your liver and your kidneys go, no, we are too busy filtering out other things, toxins and chemicals. You need to go back into the bloodstream. Your body freaks out because it's like, holy smack, we cannot have these toxins and chemicals free floating into your bloodstream because you're going to get really, really, really sick. So there's actually a protective mechanism called fat cells. And there's something called obesogens that make your body produce more fat cells if your toxic burden is high. So if you ever felt like you've gained weight overnight, seemingly, look back at your toxic burden. What toxins and chemicals have you been exposed to through cleaning, through your lotions, perfume, things like that? So once again, fat is a protective mechanism. Obesogens will make your body create more fat. And what it does with the toxins and chemicals is actually encapsulate it. It sucks it up because it's protecting you. And so if you've been on a weight release journey specifically, and you feel like you're doing all the things, but the belly fats, the other fat in your body is just not, releasing, potentially you are high toxicity. You have a high toxic burden in your body, and your body will not release those fat cells until we can get those toxins and chemicals out of the fat. Then it goes into your circulatory system, and then we pee them out, urinary system. So that's where detoxes and cleanses can be beneficial because we're getting those out of the fat cells into your circulatory system for a hot second. So it goes into your urinary system and we can urinate them out. Those are the more gentle cleanses. If it's a liver cleanse specifically, some of them can be more of a poo-poo cleanse. Been there, done that. I don't recommend them where you're in the bathroom constantly. So that area is I create a toxin limited home environment. Are you red, yellow, or green? And if you're red, that's okay. You are now aware, And if you go to the environmental working group, I'm going to give you a real good tip, environmental working group, ewg.org. On their website, they actually have an area to look up any product to see its toxic burden within that product. They have a huge database. In fact, for you women, if you're looking for cleaner makeup, they have like skincare, and they have a database specifically just for makeup and skincare items for you. They have skincare items for men as well, but mostly I see women kind of look at that. But they rate it. They rate their level of toxicity. So if you're like, I'm not sure about this cleaning product, it sounds pretty good, but is it really? You can go to environmental working group and look that up. So are you red, yellow, or green when it comes to your toxic burden? Yeah, absolutely, Risa, because everything you put on your body is affecting you. The next area is I regularly practice lymphatic drainage techniques. Let's open up our lymph area. Are you red, yellow, or green? Once again, red is you're not doing anything. You're currently not doing anything to this. I'm going to put this right there. And if you're not, that's okay, because most people aren't aware of the importance of the lymph system and lymphatic drainage. I'm trying to move this over here so you can see it better. Okay, so red is you're not doing anything. My mouse can work. Yellow is you are, but it's not consistent. And green is you do this consistently. And as John was saying, like he does it every day. Like I rebound every day. That's my lymphatic drainage. It's easier. I'll do the shoulder shrug too that he taught. And then green is you do this daily. You take consistent action. So are you red, yellow, or green with lymphatic drainage techniques? The next one is I sleep at least 7 hours per night with a minimum of an hour and a half of deep sleep. Hour and a half of deep sleep. Now, you might not know if you're in deep sleep. You know, there are devices and tools that you can utilize to see if you are in deep sleep, but if you wake up and you're tired, probably didn't get a whole lot of deep sleep. And when it comes to 7 hours per night, that's just per the CDC and other research that shows 7 hours is optimal for most people. So do you sleep at least 7 hours at night, and are you getting into deep sleep? Are you red, yellow, or green in that area? The next one is I recognize when I am stressed and I use proper stress management techniques. It's a big one, because some women don't feel like they're under stress, but yet their body has been in a state of stress for a while. Yeah, so you red, yellow, or green. Can you tell when you're under stress? How can you tell if you're under stress? Everything gets tight and ramped up. So if you feel like your neck and shoulders are tight, if you're eating very quickly, that's a sign that you're eating while under stress. And I'm talking about there's no time constraints, right? You're just eating very quickly. Trust me, I've been there, done that. When I first started to really get serious about my health and wellness journey, I ate my meals in 7 minutes or less because I worked in the ER. So everything was very fast paced, and I need to get back on the floor to take care of my patients. So are you red, yellow, or green when it comes to stress, managing your stress? The next one is I notice when I'm about to self-sabotage and can prevent it. Do you notice when you're about to self-sabotage, like you're going for the Halloween candy? You got some cravings going on, and you know you're not going to feel the best in your body if you have that Halloween candy. You're on a journey to lower your sugar because you know the more sugar you eat, the more inflamed you get, and the more sick you get. Maybe it causes an autoimmune exacerbation. So do you know when you're about to self-sabotage? And part of that self-sabotage can be very subtle. Part of it, self-sabotage can be, you know, I had a really stressful day. I'm just going to get some pizza and ice cream and just sit down and watch a movie. It can be very subtle because we're self-soothing. We're self-sabotaging as we're self-soothing with food. So are you red, yellow, or green when it comes to awareness of self-sabotage and preventing it? The last one in environment is I have supportive, healthy relationships that contribute to my well-being. I have supportive, healthy relationships that contribute to my well-being. Joan says, I do because I crave chocolate. Well, and chocolate might be, are you potentially needing some magnesium or some nutrient that's in chocolate? Chocolates. I know for women who are still, sorry guys, I deal with women who are still menstruating with the cravings, the premenstrual period time. When you have the cravings for chocolate, it's because your body's preparing it, wants you to restore what you're going to lose. Because it has magnesium, copper, selenium. It has a lot of, dark chocolate specifically has a lot of great health benefits to it. So look at, if you've been following along and doing this, look at all of your areas under environments and what is your predominant color? What is your predominant color? Is it red, yellow, or green? And if it's red, that's okay. That's okay. You might be just starting your journey and you're not aware of this at all. Don't get overwhelmed if you are red. Do not get overwhelmed. I recommend just go to the ewg.org and just pick like one or two things that you're going to work on for your, if it's your toxic burden that's you feel like you're overwhelmed with. Just pick one or two things. 1% improvement every day. By the end of the year, it's 365% improvement. Small steps still get you to the top of the stairs. Some green, some yellow. Yeah. Awesome. So next area, let me move some things around because let me move this over so I can type. All right, so the next area, let's look at hormones. Now for women, when we hear hormones, we automatically think, oh, estrogen, progesterone, all testosterone, all those that hit us during perimenopause, menopausal time. But there are hormones that are in play way before we hit that age, way before, and I'm gonna write them down, okay? Cortisol, insulin, okay? We also have human growth hormone. These are the hormones I'm specifically talking about. Leptin and ghrelin. Oops. And ghrelin. So cortisol, you might know it as the stress hormone. It's also a sugar because it's a glucose, meaning sugar, corticosteride. Insulin helps us to get sugar into our cells. Human growth hormone is such an amazing hormone. It helps us to burn fat more efficiently. It helps us to build lean muscle mass. It helps us with overall health and wellness. It's a great anti-aging hormone. Leptin is our appetite suppressant. It lets us know when we're comfortably full and when we don't need to fuel our body with more food. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. It helps us to know when we need to refuel with food. So when it comes to this, cortisol, since it's a stress hormone, guess what? That correlates with your environment. How are you managing your stress? Also, for women who are in their 40s, we see this a lot. Years of under chronic stress, your adrenals are barely functioning, and so your cortisol is out of whack. And you're wide awake at night when you should be falling asleep and sleepy. You're exhausted in the morning. It's because your cortisol is out of whack. Your cortisol is high when it should be low, and it's low when it should be high. Or potentially your adrenals are barely pumping out cortisol, and we do need cortisol. We do need it. However, it needs to be properly balanced and managed. And so when it comes to the low energy, we often see this where it's you're low in energy, but you're not chronic fatigue. You're just low in energy daily, and your thyroid's okay, but you're struggling to get through the day. We see this with women when their adrenals are in burnout mode. Of course, insulin will correlate to your blood sugar regulation or balance. However, we live in a day and age where it's so sugar focused. There's lots of sugar in the food items that are abundant in our grocery store that your body gets used to throwing out a lot of insulin. And so it'll try to overcompensate, and it might be throwing out too much insulin. So now you're crashing. Your blood sugar's lowering just because from past experience and past programming and past years of excess sugar, your body just goes, you're going to eat lots of sugar. I'm just throwing out lots of insulin. And then human growth hormone, by the way, cortisol and human growth hormone are what's called inversely proportional, meaning, as I said yesterday, if stress is high, if your cortisol is high, your human growth hormone is going to be depleted. And also sleep comes into it, makes an impact because as high as 75% of human growth hormone is released in deep sleep. So I mentioned leptin and ghrelin. So how can you tell if these are balanced or not balanced? Well, what's going on in your environment and eating, okay? Are you stressed? Are you managing your stress properly? That will be cortisol. Human growth hormone, are you sleeping? Are you getting into deep sleep? And also, are you eating enough protein? Protein is a big factor when it comes to human growth hormone as well. Insulin will be, once again, your sugar. How much sugar are you eating? Are you eating food that your body thrives on? Do you know your food intolerances, and are you staying away from them? Yes, human growth hormone will decrease, but that's by virtue of you're not eating enough protein, is what we tend to see. Because as you age, you don't uptake your protein as efficiently. Part of that is the gut microbiome is messed up. And then you're just not eating enough protein for your body. Typically, most women maybe eat 50 to 60 grams unless they're really focused on that. That's a great question. And then, are you hungry all the time? That would be your ghrelin. Are you hungry all the time? Like you're eating everything in sight. Do you know your hunger and your fullness cues? We see a lot of women that their appetite suppressant hormone, their leptin, is out of whack. They can't tell when they're full. So are you red, yellow, or green? So when it comes to managing these properly, it's going to be your eating, it's going to be your environment, because it's going to be your sleep, your stress, how you're eating is going to really impact these hormones. And let's talk about perimenopause, menopause for a hot second. What you do when you're eating in your environment is going to impact the severity of the symptoms that you have when it comes to perimenopause, menopause. I was one that I was having the night sweats, and I was estrogen dominant because I had a high toxic burden. So once I managed that better, I don't have night sweats anymore. Unless I have two cats on top of me and it's just, I didn't put the AC down low enough because they pump out a lot of heat. All right, so as you look through that, so I take steps to balance human growth hormone. You're eating enough protein and you're getting into deep sleep is a milestone in this area. I work on regulating insulin sensitivity, watching the amount of sugar that you're eating and moving your body, and getting enough fiber. Those two come into play. Environments, I'm just getting you some of these milestones, but movement would be environments. Movement would be environment. So I'm just giving some of these milestones. I practice stress management techniques to keep my hormones in check, and I prioritize sleep and nutrition to support hormone balance. So where are you in these areas? Are you red, yellow, or green? And once again, it's not necessarily perimenopause, menopause. These hit us, every one of us, way before that time in our women's life specifically. All right, so the last area of us that we're going to assess is we're going to assess mind. And I've mentioned mind quite a few times. We've also seen other presenters, other experts talk about mindset and mind. Deepak we did a little bit more deeper yesterday, right? So when it comes to mind, I'm aware of the thoughts and emotions that cause me to get off track. I'm aware of my thoughts and emotions that cause me to get off track. So when it comes, let's talk about stress eating, emotional eating. Are you aware of the emotion that precedes that action of eating? Sometimes we can say, yes, it's stress. Sometimes we can say boredom, but there are other emotions that can contribute to the emotional eating components. Or, you're doing so well, but then all of a sudden you get off track. What's the emotion that preceded the getting off track, the not taking consistent action? All diets, they focus on actions, and even good weight loss programs, good health programs, they focus on actions like, what are you eating? How are your environment? Are you managing this? Are you managing that? What actions are you taking toward that? But before any action, there's always going to be an emotion. Always. There's always an emotion that's going to drive that action. So, okay, so most programs focus on actions, all right. which is why I'm saying you are not the failure. The program failed you because we have an emotion that drives action. So are you aware of your thoughts and emotions? Because, why we want to take care of our thoughts is because way before an emotion is actually a thought. But we think so many thoughts at any given time that it might be hard to determine, okay, what was the thought that preceded this? This arrow does not want to move. Okay, there we go. So we think so many thoughts that we can't catch the one-on-ones that are driving the emotions, that are driving the actions. Okay, there's always a thought that leads to emotion, that leads to an action. Thought of, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, this is difficult. And then that leads to a low emotional vibrational state. Oh, sadness. Oh, I'm not liking this. It's uncomfortable. It's not pleasant. You feel you have an emotional state, which leads to inaction. Oh, let me just go eat the sugar. Let me go get to the Halloween candy. For me, it was let me go get another pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream, even though I just had a pint. So most diets and most programs focus on actions. They focus on this. So that when you don't take consistent action and we don't know the emotion or the thought behind the not taking consistent action, you don't understand what's going on, you're going to feel like the failure. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to feel all alone in your struggle because you're like, I'm trying to take action. I just can't do it. It's just not happening. I'm trying to take action. And you're left going, well, what's wrong with me, right? You're feeling like you're the one that's broken, right? You're feeling like you're the common denominator in all of this, especially if you've gone from diet to diet to diet, program to program to program. I spent about $10,000 or more trying to find the missing component to fix me because I felt like I was broken. But here's the thing. If you were the common denominator, then no one else would be struggling, right? But we're here because maybe we're struggling in different areas. So that lets us know it's not me, it's not just you. It's the structure from which we take action. Structure, what do I mean? So if you feel like you need to be fixed, that you're broken, then we take action toward fixing those things. But we're focusing on the brokenness. We're focusing on what needs to be fixed. What we focus on expands. So then we get more of that. The unconscious mind is always in survival mode. It wants the status quo. It gives us more survival. And survival could be, we've survived the excess weight. We've survived poor health. We didn't die. Give me more of that because I know I can survive it. The unconscious mind is going, when I release weight, I don't know if I can survive it. I haven't proven that yet. When I overcome this health issue, I don't know if I'm going to survive it. And it may sound silly, like, are we going to die if we release weight? May sound silly, but our unconscious mind is like, I'm not going there. So then, because the unconscious mind, it's a thoughts, unconscious mind that we're not consciously thinking, it's in the background of things, it's given us an emotional state of, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too difficult. I'm sad. And we're at a low vibrational state. And then we will choose low vibrational foods and actions. This might be entirely new material for you. I know it was new for me because no one ever said, oh, what's your thought process? Or do you feel like you're broken? Are you trying to fix yourself? They just focused on my actions. Stop eating so much sugar, stop binging and eating, like focus on your protein, do this, do that, do that. And I'm like, but I'm trying to take action. But I was focused on the wrong thing. We need to change it from a broken state to a creation state. What do I mean? Let's talk about creation. Creation is not just for the artist. Creation is not just for the musician. We are all creating every day. Give an example. Have any of you ever gone on vacation? Might have been to a different country, might be to a different state, gone on vacation. So that vacation didn't just all of a sudden happen. You thought about it first. and then you focused on making that happen. So it happened. You created that. It didn't just magically happen. So when it comes to health and wellness, we need to be more in a creator mode and focusing on creating health, creating wellness. And how do we do that? Is we be it now. We don't think about it in the future, we be it now. So how do we be it now? I know my English is not the best with that, but just to bring it into focus, how do we be it now is we take action. So what is one action that's in your mind? You're like, I really need to take action on this. This is something I need to do. And then you do it. You don't wait to do it, you do it. And that starts to prove to the unconscious mind, oh yeah, this is good. It's okay. And the more we take action and be it, and be that woman or man of health, and be that woman or man of wellness, it starts proving we're in creation mode. We're not focusing on being broke and stuck, so we get more of what we want instead of less of what we don't want. So when it comes to being stuck, it's that pendulum. You ever see like the clocks that have the little pendulum back and forth, right? It's going back and forth. You might be taking consistent action. You're going this way toward what you want, but then you're being pulled back to stuckness, the sameness, survival. Back again, okay, which is why I see lots of women, I did it myself, diet to diet to diet, program to program to program. Why? It's because you're focused on what's broken. But you are not broken. Your body has just been compensating for what has been done, what you were currently doing. No shame or blame. You're doing the best you know what to do, and your body is doing the best that it knows how to do. I felt like my body was the enemy. I truly did. And I felt like I was fighting against it, but my body was actually trying to protect me. I had past trauma, so the weight was a physical barrier for future trauma, perceived trauma and hurt. I survived the trauma, so I was in survival mode. Other part of that was I was toxic in my body, so my body is like, I'm not releasing these fat cells because you're going to get really, really sick if you do. And you're already sick enough as it is. And so I was in trying to fix it, but my body's like, body doesn't need to be fixed. It's working what it knows how to do. Okay. I'm curious, is this new material? It usually is new material for a lot of people when it comes to mind, because it's not just, let's talk about a little bit of energetics. This might be a little too woo for some people, but there's science behind it. Okay. Everything is moving. Let's go back to middle school. It might have been physics, I can't remember its class, but we learned that everything's moving. Even things in a solid state are moving. We just can't see it because there's protons, electrons, there's atoms, and it's moving. It's constant state of moving, constant state of flux. We just don't see it moving. We just see the solid state. Like I see the solid state of my desk, but those electrons, those atoms are constantly moving. Same thing with us. We have energy, we have vibration, we have frequency to which we're vibrating, so to speak. So if we are vibrating at a low frequency, sadness, loneliness, depression, not talking about clinical depression, we will choose and do low vibration foods and activities. If we are vibrating a higher state, which love and gratitude are the two highest vibrational states for humans, we will choose high vibrational foods and activities. We will move our body. We will eat foods that our body thrives on. We will eat the less than 25 grams of sugar. So we can come at it from two different ways. We can either acknowledge we're in a low vibrational state and then get ourselves into a higher vibrational state, move our body, dance it out, send love and gratitude to someone, or we can eat high vibrational foods to get us into a higher vibrational state. This is usually something different, but might sound a little woo, but everything's moving, including us, movements. And so we vibrate at a certain frequency. And so if you're coming from it from a low vibrational perspective, you're going to choose every time low vibrational actions and activities unless you get yourself into a higher vibrational state. So when it comes to this, next one is I practice energetics and maintain high vibration to support my goals. Just simply daily gratitude, meditating, prayer, can raise your vibrational state. I mean, how movement, it's like, how do you feel when you do those activities? When you practice daily gratitude, when you move your body, you feel better. You feel better. You feel better about yourself. You feel better about things in general. So you're raising your vibrational state. The next one is I consistently focus on the end results I want rather than on the problems, knowing that what we focus on expands, which is what I was informing you about over here. Create it, think it, be it. The next one is I cultivate a positive mindset and visualize my health journey success. Visualize my health journey success. What does that look like for you? I do something daily that's called the Core 4, and we do this in my academy. The Core 4 meaning I choose to live a life I love is number 1. The second one, I choose to live a life of health and vitality is number 2. Number 3 is I choose to be the predominant creator. I like to say co-creator with God, that's me, but you're the driving force. And number 4 is I choose to live a life of purpose. So when you focus on those core 4 in the morning, it kind of changes your mentality as well. And so I always encourage my academy. This is what we work on in my academy. We dive deep into this because if you find yourself going from diet to diet to diet, program to program to program, and it's because not that you didn't get the correct answers, it's because you defaulted back to the old patterns of programming. I've seen it in really great functional wellness clinics where as soon as they get off the program, they're going back to their past patterns of behavior, and their health issues are coming back, their inflammation's coming back, and their weight's coming back. It's because we haven't dealt with this component, which is the unconscious mind. Some people call it subconscious. I like to call it unconscious or superconscious, because when we really change the actions and be more in creator mode, if our unconscious is driving 90% of our actions, if we can change it to be more of a creation and be at now mode, we're driving it toward our end results versus back to what we don't want. And also in mind is I practice regular self-care and resilience building habits. And the last one is I stay focused on long-term health even after setbacks. So part of, and a huge component, as I said, the unconscious mind. So unconscious mind is going to drive all of this. I'm gonna see if I can flip it around. Yeah, it's not gonna let me to. I'll just leave that one. So the unconscious mind is going to drive your thoughts. Your thoughts are going to drive your emotions are going to drive your actions. If we just focus on actions, we're going to get little to no results. We're not going to be as consistent. Most of you can kind of tap into what is your emotional state. Okay, so we're getting a little better. Most of us can tap into our emotion, but let's start tapping into our thoughts and just get curious. So the next time, what I always encourage my clients is the next time you find yourself, when you're eating the Halloween candy, just get curious with it. I'm like, isn't it curious I chose to eat the Halloween candy? What was my emotional state? Oh, I just had a stressful conversation with a loved one. Okay, so what was a thought behind that? My thought was, daggone it, here she goes again, talking smack about me. It could be whatever. I'm just giving an example. And so it also comes down to, if we can reprogram the unconscious mind, set yourself up for success. Now, I know this was a lot to go through. I do have a handout for you that will give you, it's a direct download to a handout that I created specifically for you guys. It is a check-in, so you can use the check-in. I'm going to open it up and share it with you. Let me close the whiteboard down. That will download the PDF file directly for you. My computer will open up for me. Here it is, and let me share my screen. Okay. So the checklist, just like we did, is going to use the traffic light system, okay? Everything that I mentioned when it came to milestones are all in here, okay? They're all in here. So you can go through and make any notes on any current habits. You got some section for notes. And at the bottom, what are your next steps? After assessing each pillar, focus on the areas that need improvement and what's your action steps toward that. And then reflect. What areas need the most attention? What would success look like for you in these areas? And then I have a weekly progress tracker over a month. Where are you in eating, environment, hormone, and empowered mind? So you can use this weekly and then monthly as well. You can just simply track down, I'm red, I'm yellow, I'm green, whatever in those areas. So use this. Watch the session again, go through this, but what I find for most people, women in particular, just because my niche is women, is the mind component, where they might know what they need to do, but they are inconsistent in doing it. And so if we can reprogram our unconscious mind and make it truly super conscious, we can be and create our end result that we want. But it starts with being it now. Be it now. Take actions toward that now. Awesome. Any questions about that session? I know we kind of dove a little bit deeper into all of that. I just put some milestones. There's more that goes within each milestone, and in my academy actually address them all. Karen, you have a question?
Sorry, I had to mute.
No
I'm
worries.
wondering if you can put up your white screen. I was typing out notes from it, and is that okay that you
Oh,
put it up again real quick?
it's actually, in the PDF download, you mean with the thoughts and actions and emotions, that part of it?
No, the white screen that you were sharing with all of us when you were typing
Let me see
things.
if I can have it. Let me see if it pop up. They saved it.
I wasn't done taking notes.
I think this one's it. Yeah, that one. Yep, there you go. I'll leave it up for you. So our next speaker is going to be speaking at right at 11 a.m. Eastern time, so in 5 minutes. So if you need to go rehydrate, get some water, go get a snack, whatever you need to do. Hi, Sammy, I see you. We're going to start right at the top of the hour.